In this series, we will be talking about the spirit of Ahab, like I promised earlier. We'll be talking about spirit of Ahab, spirit of Pharaoh, and the spirit of Jezebel. Mostly, you'll be digging straight into their characteristics, because this is the only way that we can be able to assess our own spiritual health check. Nobody is here to admit that he has spirit of Ahab, or can admit that he has spirit of Ahab in him or her, or the spirit of Pharaoh in him or her, or the spirit of Jezebel in him or her. It is all through these characteristics that person exhibits that will tell you, yes, a certain spirit is coming upon me. So you'll be able to distinguish. This is what this series is all about. I start with the spirit of Ahab. The spirit of Ahab is weak and fearful. It loves its position but fears confrontation. Working in tandem, the spirit of Ahab will need and feed off the other in order to accomplish their goals. A pastor or a shepherd influenced by an Ahab spirit will need the help of someone with the spirit of Jezebel to operate in order to maintain position and to entrench his popularity. The pastor may allow this person to operate or to exercise his or her gifts for his own selfish agenda, and that is only to gain popularity at any cost. In acting in this way, any previous flow of true prophecy that was there will be given less importance and eventually will be silenced. When this happens, a spiritual vacuum will be created in their church or organization. One thing to be noted in these days is that in general there are more women in church than men. This occurs when the spiritual and natural head of the family is the woman. Men have the tendency to run to the hills when women infringe upon their roles. The spirit of Ahab is a weak and emasculated, that is, castrated figure. Indeed, the majority of modern men are under that spirit, enslaved to their women. There is an adage that says there are two kinds of people in this world: those who rule and those that are ruled. If you do not rule, it means you are ruled. The couple, Jezebel and Ahab, represent very well our present society. It is Jezebel that was the more spiritual. It was her that took the leading role. Jezebel used Ahab's emotional stresses to endear herself to him. It was this woman that drove her husband to do what she wanted. She was ruling the roost in every aspect. It's not a picture of our democratic culture, but what happens when the woman takes the leading role that God has prescribed for men? If a woman plays her husband's role in directing the family, he will lose his natural drive to bear responsibility. When a woman takes the lead, she is playing the masculine role. Unless her husband fights her for supremacy, he must assume second place. And men who are forced into subjection to their wives tend to be angry, dejected, and retreat like Ahab. When a husband steps into a spiritual role at his wife's command, he becomes vulnerable to her guidance in that role. This is against God's directives and the nature he gave, and often brings conflict in the family and in the church or organization. Many men turn their heads when they see their wives stepping out of their God-given role. These men will rather not have to deal with the stone-cold anger they will receive from their wives if they offered any resistance. Have you seen that behavior here and there? Ahab shows not to notice when his wife walked behind the scenes. Many men turn their heads when they see their wives stepping out of their God's-given role. Jezebel knew that she was not the rightful head, so she invoked her husband's name to give her word authority. Did you ever hear it said, "Oh, my husband will not let me do that"? When you knew the truth, you really would not care. It is a way to maintain control and stop those who would question you. When a woman does this, she stops any ministry God has to her. Jezebel was deeply concerned about spiritual matters and took steps to help promote her spiritual leaders. In the process, she provoked her husband to destroy those in spiritual authority she did not like. Have you ever seen women influencing their husband to think evil of those in authority because you did not like something about them? When a woman comes to this place, she might as well change her name to Jezebel. The fact is that man is made in such a way that he has no defense against the love of a righteous wife. But if he falls into the end of a Jezebel, truly his life will be hell on earth. Unfortunately for men, with the advent of democracy and the so-called egalitarian, that is democratic approach, there are billions of Jezebels in the world of today. And once manly men have been reduced to weak type of Ahabs, they have been mentally emasculated, and the world is in deep decadence because of that, as we see today. How many women do you actually know do this today? According to Proverbs 31, verses 10 to 12, it says, an excellent wife who can find, she is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. Thank you. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Radio is out to Kings One Radio, Kings One Radio, the station of the world, the station on top, the station of the elite. Kings One Radio, the station of the world, the station on top, the station of the elite. Kings One Radio. Shake it.